الفاتحة. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله الذي لا يبلغ مدحته القائلون ولا يحصي نعماءه العادون ولا يؤدي حقه المجتحدون، الذي لا يدركه بعد الحمم ولا يناله غوص الفطن، ثم الصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين، حبيب قلوبنا وطبيب نفوسنا والشفيع ذنوبنا، سيدنا ومولانا أبي القاسم محمد وعلى بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين المظلومين، لا سيما بقية الله في الأرضين، صاحب العصر والزمان، خليفة الرحمن، إمام الإنس والجان، ولعن الله أعداهم أجمعين إلى يوم الدين. أما بعد، فقد قال الله وقوله الحق: بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الذين جاهدوا فينا لنهدينهم سبلنا وإن الله لمع المحسنين. صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. First of all, I just wanted to express my gratitude and my appreciation to the Idara and to all of you for allowing me to spend the past 3 nights with all of you. May Allah bless this community, inshallah, and bless all of you and your families. A special thanks to my host, Dr. Ghulam Abbas, and his family for putting up with me and my demands. And may Allah increase the blessing in his house for his beautiful family. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Our discussion for the past 2 nights has been revolving around achieving a balance between the heart and the mind, between the aql and the qalb. In the first discussion we had 2 nights ago, we defined these terms. And we talked about the fact that aql or aqala is that concept where it literally means to tie things together. And that definition will come into play in tonight's discussion. And we talked about the fact that while the aql is one entity or one reality that continues to grow inside the human being, it's the qalb that fluctuates inside the human being. And last night we talked about the qalb in a little bit more detail, the hearts, using the base of the verse from Surah Baqarah, where Allah uses the imagery of rocks to describe the hardening of the hearts inside the human being. I mentioned one heart, of course, is يَتَفَجِّرُ عَنْهُ الْأَنْهَارِ, the idea that there is a river that will burst out of that rock. Then there are other ones, يَشَقَّقُ مِنْهُ الْمَاءِ, that when you break it open, there's still water inside. And then, of course, the other one is يَحْبِطُ مِنَ الْخَشْيَةِ اللَّهِ, the one that falls out of the fear of Allah. We described all that last night. And the purpose behind last night's discussion was to understand the importance and the functionality of the heart of the human being. And one thing that I want all of us to extract from last night's discussion is, it's that heart that connects the concept of knowing Allah and worshiping Allah. That connection sometimes is lost. While many of us believe in Allah, we can even defend the existence of Allah, it's that connection to convert that ma'arifah into ata'at that really sometimes gets lost. And it's that heart that takes what we know and allows us to do that perennial leap of faith. That's why it's important that we work on our hearts. I talked about the idea that the heart is the sanctuary of Allah. It's His. Give it His right. Meaning that don't allow anything else to reside inside that heart. That was all last night. Tonight now, Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Sorry, I hope you won't mind me. It's been a whirlwind of a weekend here in Maryland, mashallah. So Just a little bit tired tonight. Inshallah, with your loud salawats, I'll get some energy, inshallah. Thank you. In keeping with the idea of the balance, we have to now understand what the aql does inside the human being. And it plays a huge role. And my only purpose in these 3 nights, and obviously 3 nights is not enough, is for us to understand that Islam is not all emotion, it's not all intellect. There are some of us who approach this commemoration of Imam Hussein and oftentimes tell me that maybe we cry too much for Imam Hussein. Maybe we grieve too much. Maybe we need to understand Imam Hussein at the intellectual level. And of course, remove the idea of the grief and the gham and the sadness and the black clothes, etc., etc. It's pushing our youth away. Then there are those, thank you, then there are those, of course, who say that we don't cry enough, that we should only, of course, focus on the gham and the grief. We don't need to really understand Imam Hussein's mission. So there are those, with all due respect, there are those, of course, who won't sit in the majlis, but will come running in during Masa'ib al-Matam. Sorry. Then there are those who will only come for the majlis and will walk out during Masa'ib al-Matam. That's an imbalance if you ask me. There has to be a balance of both of them. There has to be the fact that if Hussein is intellectual, Hussein is emotional. Where there is one aspect that we have to understand why Imam Hussein did what he did. Because the problem with history is that what? It repeats itself. We believe sometimes that Imam Hussein wiped out Yazidiyat back then. He didn't, I'm sorry. Yazid ruled for 2 more years afterwards. That exact same mentality exists today. So if we do an injustice to Imam Hussein and leave him, let's say, in the history books, then we haven't done him justice. He did what he did to teach us a process. That when you have the Yazid of your time, and every era has their Yazid, then you do what Hussein did, and you give up everything, but you don't give up bay'at and allegiance to that Yazid. That's at the intellectual level. That's when you dissect what's happening around the world. That's when you take the Hussein's commemoration and you understand who today's Yazid is. And I'm sorry, if you don't do that, there's a big gaping hole in this commemoration. He did not do what he did. Did not do what he did so he can be remembered every single year. I'm sorry. Right? And the beautiful poem by Dr. Maulana Abbas was exactly what I wanted as a beautiful segue to my speech today. That we have to say that same labbaik today and rise up against the same injustice. It's important that we identify the Yazid of our time. That's intellectual. The emotional is the idea that now what we do is we take this gham of Hussein, the grief of Hussein, and we connect it to Imam al-Zamana. How do we do that? Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Because there's a whole discussion now that from Ashur to Zuhur, volumes of books have been written. That what Imam Hussein left, what he started on the day of Ashura, Imam al-Zamana will finish when he comes. The connection is very real, as you know. From Du'a Ahad to Ziyarah Ashura, to all these things, to the idea that no other Imam after Imam Hussein has been known as the one who will avenge the blood of Hussein, except for Imam al-Zamana. 9 Imams have passed. He's the only one. In fact, certain traditions that say that the one who will bury Imam al-Zamana in this world will not be his father, but rather Imam Hussein. What is that connection? That connection is a very simple one. We come to this Majlis-e-Aza and we shed 1 tear of Imam Hussein. And the heart softens. When the heart softens, it's like Play-Doh. Like Play-Doh. You know, I give my kids Play-Doh and they mold it how they wish. Then they do this and then they mold it how they wish. They can do what they want. But the moment the Play-Doh gets hard, it's useless. The heart sometimes goes through that fluctuation like I talked about. The one thing emotionally that Imam Hussein's commemoration brings to the table is it takes the hardening of the heart and it softens it for us. Even the ones who can't squeeze a tear will come and sit on this farsh and cry for Ali Asghar, cry for Abul Fazl, cry for Janab Qasim. Now the moment that the tears roll down your face, it says that's the best time for dua. Why? Your heart's like Play-Doh. Now that the heart's like Play-Doh, now you begin to mold it to point it towards Imam Zamana. So where Imam Hussein gives us that wetness, those tears, those grief to mold the heart, it's Imam Zamana that tells us where to mold the heart towards. That connection is hit. Without the emotion of Hussein, you can't achieve that. So Hussein is intellectual, Hussein is emotional. Hussein is the fadail of 45 minutes, Hussein is the masaib. Hussein is the matam and sina zani, Hussein is understanding today's Yazid. It's a balance, and that balance, I'm sorry, we have yet to achieve. In any community, there's always two extreme groups, and all they do is they judge each other. That you don't love Imam Hussein as much as I do. It's unhealthy. It's not needed. And so, across 3 nights, I did my best to try to achieve a balance. And not just Hussein, the entire deen is like that. The entire deen has components that aql has to understand and the qalb has to understand. Now last night we understood the qalb. Tonight let's discuss the aql. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. And don't get me wrong, I mean, if anybody has any questions or concerns or comments or insults or they want to fight, no problem. I'm here. I'm here until the end. I'll be there in the matam, I'll be there at dinner, I'll be in the parking lot, I'll lock the door. I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. But talk to me, don't talk to WhatsApp groups. Talk to me directly. I said the words, ask me. Don't ask next week's English alim about this week's English alim. Don't do that. Don't do that. Please don't do that. Because he has no idea why I said what I said. How many questions have I gotten about some alim that said don't say salam on Ashura? Baba, ask him. Why are you asking me for? He said it. No, I know, but what are your thoughts? I don't care. He said it. Ask him. Make that a culture. Okay, I'm standing right here. I'm 6'4". You can't miss me. I'm in all black. You can't miss me. Come and talk to me. No problem. Maybe I'm wrong. I can learn from you, inshallah. No problem. But this is how I see things. Now the aql. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. We do know and we understand that the one factor that makes us the ashraf al-makhluqat, the best creation of Allah, is the faculty of reason. That much we know. It's a very smart crowd, very smart majma. Ulama far greater than us, than me, have come in through these doors. So I'm not dealing with, a slow majma. I don't need to sit there and explain things that are already, of course, very clear to all of you. The one thing that separates us from everything else is the aql. Allah gave us the faculty of reason and logic and the intellect. That much we know? Great. What is the job of the intellect inside of the internal kingdom? And my source tonight will be Imam Khomeini's 40 hadith book, the very first hadith on jihad al-nafs. In there he talks about 4 powers of the internal soul. Al-quwwat batiniya. And I'll go very quickly. I'll use my examples like I do. First, let's identify and understand these 4 powers, and then where the aql comes about. And the discussion is across the board. This is not a Shia discussion or a Muslim discussion, or across the board. Every human being has 4 powers inside of them. And the example I'll use throughout tonight's discussion is a corporation with different departments. Okay? So let's replace the 4 powers with 4 departments inside corporate nafs. Corporate nafs. Corporate nafs. Okay. 4 departments. The first department is Al-Quwwat Ghadabiyya, the department of anger. Department of anger. Right? These are those guys who are just angry all the time. Department of anger. Repulsion. Those things that get us angry. That's one department. One department is Al-Quwwat Shahwiyya, the department of desire and love, attraction. One department is Al-Quwwat Wahmiyya, the department of creativity, of imagination. And one, of course, is the department of Al-Quwwat Aqaliyya, the department of the intellect. 4 departments in this corporation. We'll get to the corporate structure later on in the speech. Right now, 4 departments, all at the same level. Let's examine each one very carefully. The hadith says that every department, and I'm paraphrasing now, every department has a virtuous side to it, has a vicious side to it. The one thing that my youth have to understand about the beauty of the deen of Islam is that it is not a naive deen. Nor does it attempt for you to close down those things inside of us that are fitri, innate by nature. We're not individuals, I'm sorry, where you slap my right cheek and I give you my left cheek to slap. Sorry. Nor are we individuals that believe in celibacy for people like me. Nor are we individuals that say, look, desire is all evil, anger is all evil. No. These are innate, natural emotions, but they need to be understood. There's an angelic side to anger, there's an animalistic side to anger. There's a virtuous side to desire, there's a vicious side to desire. And all these things have to be understood. When we hear shahwa, desire, lust, we think, oh my God, haram, haram. No, not the case. We have hadith that one of the biggest blessings Allah has bestowed the human being is lust and desire. But of course with conditions. So let's examine each department very carefully. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Now I was told that the first night I didn't read long enough. That's the first time I've ever heard that in my life. So since tonight is a work night and a school night, inshallah, an hour and 45 minutes, inshallah, I'll be done, inshallah. So sit tight, get comfortable, enjoy your snacks, and let's begin. Department of anger. Anger has a virtuous side and a vicious side. There are certain things that we should be angry at. There are certain things that we should not be angry at. Now, let me make one clarification. I'm talking about the existence of the emotion, not the expression of the emotion. It's a big difference. No matter how angry you are at whoever you are, Islam also puts limits on the expression of anger. Never are you allowed to what? To let your tongue go, let your actions go. Even if you're facing the worst of the worst of the worst enemies, there's etiquettes. The Prophet of Allah would prepare his soldiers for war against the biggest enemies. These are people who threw feces at the man. And yet he said, make sure you don't kill their women, or chop down their trees, or bulldoze their homes, or behead their bodies, or drag their bodies in the street. Make sure you understand that. Right? When Imam Ali says, give 3 people 2 things each. Very beautiful. Listen very carefully. He says, give your brothers your blood and your wealth. Give your enemies your fairness and your justice. Your enemies, your fairness and your justice. And give everybody else your love and your compassion. So I'm not talking about expression. I'm talking about the existence of anger, that emotion. Sometimes we're asked to swallow it, sometimes we're asked to express it. Now, the virtuous side of anger is that anger, of course, breeds courage. Anger allows us to increase our faith. Islam very much recognizes that you should be angry, but when should you be angry and with who? So, for example, if somebody at Idara, for example, mistakenly, let's say, does something to you, sits in your spot, or buds in line of the food, or perhaps, I don't know, hits you by mistake. At that moment, Islam says to what? Swallow the anger. It's your fellow mu'min and your mu'minah. Your parents upset you, for example, and you just want to scream and yell. Islam says absolutely not. Never is there a moment where you're allowed to scream at your parents. Even if they are the mushrikeen, hadith says, you can't. But there are moments where there is a allowance of anger, and we'll get to those in a moment. So there is a virtuous side to anger. Anger breeds courage. Anger breeds self-worth. Anger breeds the idea that I want to use my anger to what? To elevate Allah and the Ahlul Bayt. But the vicious side is that we end up being angry with those individuals who have no business being angry with. And the hadith, hadith has the imagery of a person who's constantly angry, like a rabid dog who's foaming at the mouth. You avoid it. There are some people in our community where the moment they open their mouth, you're like, oh my God, here we go. Right? I remember in Toronto many, many years ago, there was a marhum who passed away, but may Allah forgive his soul. And I was trying to tell somebody who the marhum was. He stood on the wall. Do you remember? He wore this shirt. He had this many kids. This and that. He had glasses. No. He had a certain way of talking, and he would give this and that, no. And then finally, when that individual understood who it was, oh, that man who was always angry at us, I go, yeah, that's the guy. Look at our homes, for example, sometimes. Our homes. Right? I mean, I do enough counseling to know inside couples and families to know that one of the issues is anger. Right? There are individuals who feel the need that whenever I'm angry, I just have to express myself, I have to get it out. I feel so much better when I get it out. But we have no idea the impact on the person in front of me, who I've just blasted. You feel better, great, but you've left scars on them that sometimes don't heal for many, many years. And it goes back to this tongue. It's not my topic, but very quickly. This tongue, ulama al-akhlaq say 30 plus sins attached to this one tongue. For many people who are the Ahl Jahannam, who will belong in the hellfire, they'll be dragged with their tongue into the hellfire. Imam Ali alayhi salatu wassalam, Allahumma salli alayhi. He says what? He says, Jurmuhu saghiru, jirmuhu saghiru, jurmuhu thaqilu. The size is small. How big is the tongue? But the crime, the jurm, is heavy, very heavy. Physical wounds will heal to the point where we don't even remember where those scars were. But verbal scars sometimes never heal. You know, I deal with addiction in our community all the time, right? Drugs, alcohol, gambling. And you try to probe this 16-year-old kid who's drowning in drugs. You try to figure out what is it that you do? Why do you do what you do? What is it? And you know, he puts up a wall, and then when I finally start to break down the bricks and get inside the heart of the heart, he refers to these verbal scars, right? These emotional scars. And when he was growing up in his household, where his father, his mother never spoke to him unless, of course, he had something evil to say. And he grew up thinking, you know what, I'm useless to my father. No matter what I do, my father will never be proud of me. No matter what I do, my mother will never be happy with me. Because when I do things that are good, that's what she expects. When I do things that are bad, that's when she blasts me. And a lot of times we don't quite understand the idea that we are known as individuals who are constantly angry. And that's the vicious side to it. And Imam Sadiq says these are people who are dogs in our community. I'm sorry, they're dogs. It's a harsh word, but they're dogs. Looking to attack. And we're just trying to avoid the dog. Don't look at the dog. Don't even cross the path. Don't even go near him. That's how some people are in our community, I'm sorry. That's how some people on the minbar are, I'm sorry. Unapproachable. Don't talk to me. Don't look at me. They come in already with this frown on their face, like, whoa, don't come anywhere near this guy. That's the vicious side to it. So they don't understand when to turn that switch off or when to turn the switch on. When Islam says to swallow that anger, they express it. When Islam says to maybe express it, they swallow it. They don't know when to fight or when to flight. When to fight or when to leave. They have no idea. No clue. That's the vicious side of anger. Now come to the department of desire. These things are obvious. The virtuous side of desire is what? Desire breeds love and compassion. It grows the family. Right? It solidifies community. Communities are made up of families. Now I know you've already had a discussion on kids, inshallah, in the first Ashra. I won't go down that route. I'll let him handle it. But the idea is that that's where we identify the expansion of families, is through desire. And when you express your desire, for those of my guys who are just married, and it's a little bit of an adult talk, I hope you don't mind. When you express your desire in the halal way with your spouse, then you focus on everything else in the deen. Before that, all you can think about is your desire, and controlling your desire, and stopping your desire, and directing your desire. All you think about is desire and shahwa. Nothing else really matters. Why it's called half your deen, the wedding? Because now that department that controlled you for so many years is taken care of. Now you can free up your mind to think about everything else. Allah and ibadat. But the vicious side is, of course, we become what Imam Ali says as animalistic individuals, instinctive individuals. Right? We feed this beast inside of us, we keep feeding it, and the more we feed him, the hungrier he gets. And this beast gets to the point where it gets out of control and begins to consume me bit by bit. And that's why we often tell our youth, look, you don't need to always say yes to your desires. That's your jihad right now. It's 18, 19. When things are screaming at you to do something, you have to stop and say no. Distract yourself, get up and leave. Do something else. Don't always say yes. Don't always feed the beast inside of you. That beast one day will come back and consume you. To the point now where we have individuals who sin, and while they're sinning, they're crying out of regret. But they can't stop the sin. Because eventually what ends up happening is that the desire of the sin is all the way down here and the regret is all the way up here. So seconds after that sin, they bang their head against the wall. During the sin, the aql says, what are you doing? Don't do it, it's haram. I know it's haram, I can't stop myself. The beast is out of control, Imam Ali says. Because I kept feeding it and feeding it and feeding it. That's the vicious side. Now come to the department of imagination. These are all departments and powers inside of us. Imagination, waham, and it's a horrible translation. But someone who has this idea of al-quwwat al-wahmiya is a person that is both sides, virtuous and vicious. And both sides, the concept of suspicion exists in both categories. Let me explain. Islam talks about, the Quran talks about the idea that you should suspect what? When a fasiq brings you news. Correct? Surah Hujurat. That everything that comes your way through a fasiq or through a media source, don't believe it because it looks like it's a professional package. On the virtuous side or on the vicious side, it says to never suspect a mu'min or a mu'minah, brother or sister. What I mean by that is suspect their niyat. Someone comes and reads Dua Kumel, someone comes and reads a poem, someone comes and reads the ta'qibat of salat. We think, oh, this guy, look at him, man, he's a mic hog. He loves the mic. He loves the mic. And right away we suspect the brother's niyat. And we have no idea why he's doing what he does. We don't know. Because that suspicion leads to what? Leads to ghibat, hujurat, leads to tuhmat, leads to character assassination. All based on a whim, all based on a khayal that of course is completely false. So that comes from what? The department of waham. On the other side, those people that we should be a little bit suspectful of, we're not. Right? If I say something and Google says something, I lose every single time. If I report a news and CNN reports the news, I lose every single time. Or any media outlet for that matter. But the problem is that, don't be so quick to accept some things. Sometimes we learn our deen from Pinterest, guys. It's a reality. These nice little pictures of Imam Ali's hadith that he never said any time in his life. It sounds great, nice flower, a little bit of a sunset, oh my God, and you get it 41 times in one day on your WhatsApp groups. But if someone like me or anybody, as a true scholar, actually says that no, it's not a hadith, I'll lose every single time. That's not what the idea is. The department of waham is that department. We should learn who to suspect and who not to suspect. The idea of someone being sly, or as they say chalak in Urdu, that all happens in the waham. People making up stories, all happens in the waham. Spreading rumors, spreading lies, right? There are people in the community who are the 411 of our community. And if you want to know anything about anybody, ask this guy or ask this sister. She'll tell you about everybody's family tree, and everyone's history, how you know, I have no idea. I'd walk into stores sometimes in Toronto, and they ask me, oh, how's your daughter Misbah? I said, who are you? Like, how do you know my daughter Misbah? Those are people, of course, who like to collect information for their own sort of gain. That all happens in the department of waham. The only department that doesn't have a vicious side to it is the department of the aql. You can never say, oh, this person is too logical. He's too intellectual. He reasons too much. So now, understand all 4 departments, inshallah? Understand. Let's come to the corporate structure. What is the corporate structure of the insan? What's the purpose and the maqsad behind every prophet and every imam? Why did Imam Hussein leave the comforts of Medina to go all the way to Karbala with his women and his children? It's to create this corporate structure. And the corporate structure is a very simple one. The CEO of the corporation is Department of the Aql. The 3 departments that report to the Aql are anger, our desire, our creativity. That's the structure. That's what we're shooting for, guys. That's corporate insan. We talk about insaniyat, humanity. We talk about the fact that why is it that the Prophet came in the era of Jahiliyyah? He literally would say that I came, of course, to rescue them from their Jahil lives, to make them humans. What does that mean? I mean, they have limbs, they have a heart, they have aql. No, they're not humans in their lifestyle. They're chaotic. What is jahil and jahiliyyah? There's two different things. The Arabs back then weren't jahil. They were poets. They were storytellers. They were writers. They had competitions in Mecca on the best writing styles. But their lives were completely chaotic. The decision-making skills had no aql attached to it. If a donkey or an animal of one tribe eats the grass of another man's house, there's a war for X amount of years. They would create idols out of dates, worship that idol, and then eat that idol for lunch. Correct? Comical. It was very, very on back then, very common back then. They would do tawaf of the Kaaba without clothes on. Same Arabs, of course, would, write poetry. The reason why the Quran was the Prophet's miracle was because that was what was prevalent in that society. You can't use Musa's stick in the Prophet of Allah's time. It's not going to fly. You can't use the Quran in Musa's time. That's the beauty, wisdom of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The corporate structure is just that. So if you can come with me on a very simple and a very silly example. So the Department of Anger has a meeting, let's say, for example, in their department. They're in a boardroom. They talk about the fact that this individual at Idara made me angry. Okay, who was he? What happened? What were the events? What were the dates? Where were you at this time? Okay, perfect. Let's take our report. Let's go to the top floor and let's knock on Mr. Aql's door. And say, Mr. Aql, excuse me, we want to have a meeting with you. Sure, come on in, guys. Have a seat. What can I help you with? This is our report. We want to know, can we express our anger on this or not? And he'll sit there and he'll say, approved or denied. Please follow me very carefully. He'll say, are those your parents you're angry at? Denied, every single time. Every single time. I don't care if you have to scream in a pillow, or go for a walk, or grab a coffee, doesn't matter. Don't stop up the stairs, don't slam your doors, don't raise your voices. Absolutely denied. And don't ever come back here again with the report on your parents. Is that, excuse me, sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Is that a believer who has wronged you and has done ghibat against you? Yes, it is. You want to go angry with him? You want to get him back? Denied. Swallow the anger, forgive him. The next report says that Mr. Aql, as a department, were angry about what's happening, let's say, in Yemen and Bahrain. We're watching the kids in the Gaza Strip who only have 4 hours of power, and 20 hours they're in darkness. That makes us angry. There's an Al-Quds protest. There's a vigil. There is a petition to sign. There's an email to send. There's a meeting with the MP or the governor. Is it okay if I express the anger? He'll say approved. Express the anger. Individual who, let's say, for example, has drawn a cartoon against the Holy Prophet in Denmark. Approved. Someone who, is insulting the Ahlul Bayt. Approved. It has to go through the Aql. The moment, and you might think, yeah, that sounds good. Doesn't happen that easy. Because there are moments where our structure is flipped, where the anger now is sitting in the CEO chair, and the aql is demoted down to department number 3. Because when we're angry, our entire existence is angry. Our tongue is gone, our mind is gone, our hands are gone, God forbid, our limbs are gone, we punch walls, we do everything, and then when we're done and everything is back to normal again, my bad, man, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Allah. Astaghfirullah Rabbi wa atubu ilayh. That tawbah comes when the anger goes back to department number 1 and the aql restores its CEO. That's the essence of tawbah. Because the aql says, look, you wronged Allah, go back and forgive him. Get your forgiveness. But sometimes there are people who keep the aql where it is. Now, desire has its meeting. The department of desire comes and says, look, I'm in love with this individual. I want to marry this individual. He's not Muslim, but he swears to God he'll convert for me. Family is religious? No, they come from a very broken home. And then the aql will say, do you know that this individual is responsible for leading you and your kids to heaven? Yes. How will he do that if he has no idea about the deen? But I love him, aql. He's everything to me. When I was going through my difficult days, he was the one that pulled me out. Denied. Because love is right now. But when the reality of the honeymoon stage, when that's over, that hits, the reality hits, at that moment, you won't be so much in love. Desire says, look, I'm 18 years old, and you know what, I just can't, I want to watch this at 2 o'clock in the morning. Denied. Smoke this, denied. Gamble here, denied. Drink this, denied. The aql has to be the guiding factor. And you'll say, how is that possible? I'll give you an example. Now I'll give you this example that all of you have heard since you were a child. And I'll give you the example of Imam Ali, and you'll right away say, oh, wo to Maula Ali the yaar. Right? That was Maula Ali. He's all the way up there. And we're all the way down here. And I really want all of us, myself included, to please not have that mentality. He was not meant, with all due respect to all of us, not meant to be placed on a pedestal to be admired. He was meant to what? To apply in our life. Letter number 45 in Nahj al-Balagha. One of his governors goes to a function that he shouldn't have gone to. And Imam Ali writes him a letter. He says, if you have an imam or you have a hujjat in me, I have a hujjat in Allah over my head. There are some things that you can mimic me on. There are some things that you can't emulate me on. I get it. That's why I'm Amir al-Mu'mineen. You cannot train yourself to survive on 2 pieces of bread and ripped up clothing. I get it. But what you can do, he's his letter now. What you can do is emulate me being your Mawla in my righteousness, in my piety, in my patience. That much you can do. Meaning what? He's saying, look, I did things that were humanly possible because I'm the hujjat of Allah. What good is the hujjat if he's all the way up there? Don't use him as an example. He's precisely the example I want to use. He's the reason why he is the wali and the hujjat of Allah. He's not from a different galaxy. He's not from planet Walayat. He's not. He's very much Rasulam minhum, the Quran says. We sent you a Rasul from amongst you. So you could feel like, he's one of us. That's the whole idea. Yes, I'm not telling you that there's a reason why he's only Amir al-Mu'mineen. There are some things that we cannot touch, no doubt. But there are many things that we can emulate. And one of them is this. In the war of Khandaq, as all of you know, that moment where this mal'oon spits in the face of Amir al-Mu'mineen. Talking about aql and keep the corporate structure in mind, please. This man now in the heat of the battle, Imam Ali in the heat of the battle. His emotions are high, he's revved up, he's pumped up, there's adrenaline, everything. There's a man on the ground. And he knows that that's it. I'm about to go. Spits in the face of Imam Ali. You've all heard what does Imam Ali do? Goes for a walk. Goes for a walk, comes back, and kills the man. The moment that this man spit in Mawla's face, he got angry. Dude, you spit in my face, it's on, right? It's on. I get angry. Anyone here get angry. You can do what you want to any man, but you spit in a man's face, oh. This man spit in Imam Ali's face at the height of emotion. And inside Imam Ali, the department of anger says, oh, he spit in my face. Quick meeting, guys, quick meeting. He spit in our face. Get the report ready. Let's go up to floor number 47. Mr. Aql, he spit in my face. Can I act on that? Oh. Says denied. Why denied? He's not your enemy. He's God's enemy. So he says that I literally went for a walk. I reset my niyat. I realized this is not, if I killed him at that moment, then it would have been for my anger. That's aql, what? Controlling the entire department. Saying, look, your enmity towards him is not personal. He's an enemy of God, which makes him an enemy of yours. Go back and kill the man fi sabilillah, for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But that only happens when the aql says, whoa, Ali, don't strike him after the spit. Don't. Let me tell you when to strike him. Get up, go for a walk. In the process, I'll deny the report, go back and kill the man. Happens, it happens. You guys were dying for Nada Hedri, weren't you? Sorry, I feel so bad for you guys. English Majlis says, no Nada Hedris. Sorry. This is the idea, the corporate structure of the insan. Who is the CEO right now inside all of our corporations? Ask yourself that question. Who's running the show? Who is the board of trustees inside my corporation right now? Am I somebody who's always angry? Am I somebody who can't control my desires? Is my intellect somewhere lost in the shuffle somewhere? Imam Ali says that those individuals during the Jahil era are those individuals who would what? Who would lay down the aql on the ground and their shahwa and desire would bury the aql until it died. Until it was no longer there. There's no remnant, no hint, no smell of the aql during that era of Jahiliyyah. And all the Prophet was trying to do was revive that aql inside of us. And we need to do that today. If it's the first thing they teach you in the hawza, after you learn the language, it's mantiq. Mantiq. 2 heavy courses on mantiq. You cannot go beyond this, any other class, except without going through these 2 courses of mantiq. You can't enter philosophy, you can't enter theology, you can't enter akhlaq, nothing, until you learn mantiq. When you ask the teacher, what's the point of mantiq? Mantiq is logic. He says, mantiq teaches you how to think. So now when you know how to think, you can enter theology, and enter philosophy, and enter tafsir. But before that, you can't get there. There used to be logic in Western universities back in the day. They stopped doing that. They have their own version of logic, but it's nowhere near what we need. And this society is trying to numb our youth. Numb our youth. Don't think too much. Don't stress yourself out. Relax, dude. Just take it easy, man. Go enjoy some Fortnite and come back. You're good to go. This logic, this aql, this intellect, this idea of dissecting and thinking and introspection, tafakkur, no, Baba, leave it alone, let it go. Just enjoy, relax yourself. Because ease equals value. Islam says struggle equals success. Big, huge gap between the two. And that's what they're teaching our youth today, is that look, don't stress yourself out. If the marriage is stressing you out within 6 months, divorce her, man, it's okay. You're young, she's young, you still has a chance to do it all over. If the job is stressing you out 3 months in, it wasn't for me, man. 3 months in, you quit the job. So revolving doors, that's all we have in our youth sometimes, revolving doors. The course is too hard, yeah, drop the course. MashaAllah, graduate in 7 years, no problem. Take your time. Don't stress yourself out though. Numbing devices we have in this day and age. Social media is numbing. I'm sorry to say that. These gadgets are numbing. And the actual hole is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And we think the more we ignore it, the more it might go away. It doesn't work like that. And all because our logic is not as strong as it should be. It's not strong enough to run the corporation. It's not strong enough to deny or accept the reports of the shahwa, of the ghazab, and of the wahan. It's not. Like anger is a powerful force inside of us. Like how many questions do I get about, oh Maulana, when I'm angry, how do I control myself? Do what Imam Ali did, literally go for a walk. Get up, that's why they say change your position, Hadith says. Change your position. They say do wudu, but you know, sometimes it's not realistic. It's like, ugh! I'm not going to work like that. I'm sorry, I have yet to see that happen. But what that does mean is that, change a little bit of the balance inside of you. Okay, literally, if Mawla can get up and go for a walk because he needed that moment to make sure that, the aql and everything, so do we sometimes. So literally, if you are sitting there in front of a person who's making you fuming mad, don't sit there, Baba, get up and go for a walk, man. Go to a different room, remove yourself, collect yourself, take a deep breath, for example, wash your face, grab a glass of water. Do something to let the aql do its job. Sometimes the aql needs a little bit of time. Right? The report hasn't even come yet to his office and you've already moved forward. Let him read the report first. Let him read the report. Give him 2 seconds to find out. And then when you come in, look, you know what, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this. She's crazy, it's okay, move on. That's it. That's it. And move on. Or he's crazy, he's crazy, he's crazy. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. So corporate insan, identify your corporate structure. Who is running the show inside of you? Inside of us. Who is it? Because this idea that, oh, okay, for a while now the anger is in control and then next week the aql is, this seesaw will not happen. You have to recapture the idea of the aql and the intellect. Now, how do you do it? How do you strengthen your aql? One point then, Masahib. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. The hadith says, al-ilmu al-misbah al-aql. Very simple, 3 words. Ilm is the lantern, the fanus, the lantern of the aql. Aql is there, it's in darkness. Needs to be what? You need to turn the light on to realize that it's there. What turns that light on? It's knowledge, it's ilm. We need to be better at this. We need to be better at learning the Islamic sciences. We need to be better at balancing ilm adiyan and ilm abdan, the Prophet says. There are 2 types. If I can use today's terms, one is secular, one is spiritual. Both of them are recognized as ilm in the eyes of Islam. People think that, oh, I'm wasting my time getting my undergrad, let's say, in the arts, or in accounting, or in medicine, or in biology, or in kinesiology. No, you're not. You're not. That's ilm. That's important. I remember when I entered the Hawza, and I entered after I got my undergrad in my IT field. And one of the individuals who was interviewing me, he said, do me a favor, when you go back to your country or go back to your continent, tell them that when they do apply, we would very much prefer to have people apply to the Hawza who's already gone through an undergrad in the West. Because there are several reasons. One of them is that when you go through 4 years of undergrad, you learn how to study. You learn how to study. It's very intensive at home. Second thing is that we need somebody who's educated here in the West. They're going to come back and preach to the West. The idea is that ilm abdan is there. Many of us, one thing I love about the youth in the US, I was asked a question today at someone's house majlis, that between Canada and America, what's the difference? It's being recorded. These guys are going to kill me back home. But the biggest difference is that I feel like the youth in America are more driven towards education. I was saying that, a master's degree is like a common thing in America. That's the bare minimum, a postgraduate degree. Now, it's unfortunate that our sisters are skyrocketing and our guys are kind of catching up. That's unfortunate for the guys. Because when it comes time for marriages, there's not compatibility. Exactly, right? Go on, Maulana. Half an hour more. Right? So we need guys to step up and kind of meet the nurse, the accountant, the doctor, the lawyer. That's our sister today, alhamdulillah. But that I see there. Oh, you should come to Toronto. Unfortunately, it's not there, right? But where there is a little bit of a disconnect is that we actually believe that, look, I'm wasting my time in undergrad. I need to be in a different qom. No, you don't. Not everyone needs to hop in a plane and go to Qom al-Najaf. I'm sorry. But what you do need to do is also need to learn the Islamic sciences. 1 hour on Sundays won't cut it. I'm sorry. A 45-minute lecture sometimes isn't enough because we don't retain. Very few of you actually take notes. We have to actually, figure out a plan. What do I need to learn? If I can spend, if I'm spending 30 hours a week in secular knowledge, ilm abdan, I need at least half of that in ilm adiyan. That will what? That will make the aql inside of us a little bit more roshan and a little bit more enlightened. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. The last point I want to make to all of you about this idea of the aql is the Quran. We really need to develop a relationship with the Quran. We really do. We have these barriers that we have put, self-inflicted barriers. Then, Maulana, I'm not an Arab, I don't know the language. Yes, I've learned alif ba ta in school. And then when I do read the Arabic, I'm told that, there are English translations that are available. But then, thine and thy and thou, and I don't get it. I don't get it. It's weird English to me. And then if I do get a really good translation, I'm told, look, don't be a mufassir now. You read the translation, but there's 70 levels to each verse. So Just wrap up in silk cloth, put on the shelf until somebody dies. And then bring it back down. And that's what we've kind of reduced the Quran to. And the reality is that the Quran does things that are magical in our lives. And I ask myself and all of you, 5 verses a day, guys, will change your life. Your commute to work, in between classes, while you're sitting here for half an hour, let's say, waiting for the program to start. Right? On the way to Idara, let's say, for example. Everything's on an app now. It's at your fingertips, literally. But with translation. What the Quran does, besides many things, one thing in the Messiah, I promise, is this idea that what the Quran does is for a moment now, it makes you hit pause on the hamster wheel, takes you off the wheel, and gives you purpose in your life. And makes you understand why you're truly here. It invokes questions in your world the hamster wheel can't do. Right? We have to kind of break the cycle of sleep, eat, work, repeat. And the Quran does that. It breaks you from that. It puts you in this idea that, wait a second, there's more beyond that. It's not a book of fiqh, guys. It's not a book of salat and wudu and ghusl. 500 verses only in the Quran are about fiqh. The other 6,000 plus are about the akhirat, and about the life, and about hayat, and about God, and about the prophets before you, and about all these things that are there. Sometimes we think, I need help. I need someone to pull me out of this rut, to pull me out of the quicksand. And we neglect to understand that, the Quran is right there in front of you. The example I gave in the first Ashra, and I'll give the example now. We take our kids camping every single year. 75 kids up north for 5 days and 4 nights. And the highlight of the camp is a campfire at night, as you guys know. You guys have bonfires here too, I've heard. The campfire, people like the campfire. So just before Maghrib and Isha, we announced to the campers that, look, when you go to the namaz hall, make sure you get a hoodie, it's cold at night, and grab your flashlight. Okay? Because once you leave the namaz hall, it's pitch black outside, there's no lights. And the campfire is a little bit down the campsite. Okay? Fine. So after Isha now, you have multiple groups of people, right? One group of guy, he brings his flashlight and he's good to go, gets to the campfire, no problem. Then there's one guy, of course, who doesn't have the flashlight. He looks for the one who has a flashlight, and he goes with him. Then there's a third group. Allahu Akbar. This third guy, mashallah, he does not have a flashlight. Sorry, he refuses to use a flashlight, and he begins to, I'll get there. So he stumbles and trips in the dark, falls over roots, slips on leaves, falls. There's random noises coming from him, but he gets to the campfire. He gets to the campfire with scars and leaves and trips and huffing and puffing. Maybe he sprained an ankle, but he found his way. Like, are you okay? Yeah, I'm fine. And then you look in the back pocket of his jeans, there's a flashlight in there. And you think, turn the flashlight on. You would have been fine. It's like, yeah, you're right, next time I will. And you think that's so foolish. How foolish can you be to walk in darkness and not use the flashlight that's right in front of you? Same idea. The Quran literally is nur and light for all of us. We just haven't quite accepted that concept. I ask you, just 5, not 50, not a whole juz. I'm telling you, it's too much. 5 verses with translation. You're bound to end up looking at the world differently. It's bound to change your life. Try it for those of us who are riddled in darkness. The same idea is that we would say, why don't you use your flashlight? Allah says, look, I gave you this light, just turn it on and use it, man. And trust me, it's going to make a big difference for you. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. Because if you look at the intellectual movement of Imam Hussein, even on the day of Ashura, he knew exactly what he was doing and why he was doing it. We don't see an over-emotion of Imam Hussein. We don't see a situation where he breaks his limits. I'm not saying the man was robotic. There was a human element to him. On the day of Ashura, he was a brother, and he was a father, and he was a husband. And there are moments where he reminds us of all these 3 different relationships. To say, look, I'm just as human as you are. A couple examples that we have, that all of you have heard. The very first individual from the Bani Hashim to ask for ijazah to go to the war was Ali Akbar. And this conversation between Imam Hussein and Ali Akbar first introduced us to the quote-unquote emotional side of Imam Hussein. Otherwise, before with Habib and with Muslim and with Zuhair, he was precise. He knew exactly what to do. Go give your life, I'll bring your body back, we're good. But Ali Akbar's conversation was a very emotional one for Imam Hussein. When the Khudafis was done, when Al-Wala was done, when the mounting of the horse was done, he would tell Ali Akbar that my son, when you go into the Maidan of Karbala, if you can, every so often, just turn back and look towards me. Because you have that face that when I remembered Rasulullah, I would say ziyar to you. And that wasn't enough. Ali Akbar says that when I roared into the Maidan of Karbala, I could feel this man following me behind my horse. I look behind me, a 57-year-old father stumbling behind the horse. Ali Akbar gets off the horse, hugs Imam Hussein, says, Baba, you gave me ijazat, Baba. And then he says, Ali Akbar, if only you had a son like I had in you. You're not Sahib-e-Aulad. It was very difficult for Imam Hussein to send Ali Akbar to the Maidan of Karbala. The other moment that we have is Ali Asghar. And for a moment now, maybe, just maybe, if I can use this word with all due respect, Imam Hussein, maybe for a moment was confused. Hurmala shoots his arrow. Ali Asghar is pinned to the arm of Imam Hussein. Now he has this 6-month-old lifeless boy going towards the khayma, towards Rabab. He stops, he goes back, he stops, he goes back. What do I do? How do I tell the mother of a 6-month-old that I took him for water and he came back like this? And then he calls Rabab, Rabab, come and help me dig my grave for my Ali Asghar. And then there comes that final moment where even after he has left this world, Hamid ibn Muslim narrates that when the tents were on fire, I saw the orphan of Hussein, 4-year-old Sakina, come running out of the tent, and her shirt was on fire. Hamid says that I approached her. Let me take out the fire for you. She says, don't touch me. Don't touch me. When finally the fire went out, she went running towards the Maidan of Karbala. And Bibi Zainab finds Sakina at the body of her father. And she would ask Sakina, Sakina, you recognize a body from the head. Your father has no head. She says, what do I tell you? I entered the Maidan. Baba, Baba, Aina Baba, where are you, Baba? From this body. He would call out, Aina, he would call out, Ilayya, Ilayya, Ya Bunayya. Come, my daughter, stay beside me, I'll protect you. سيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلبين ينقلبون إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون. ماتم حسين يا حسين.
Hussein, 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 Zainab dilgir Hussein, 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 hai Hussein, ran mein hai nala kuna Zainab dilgir Hussein, 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 hai Hussein, ran mein hai nala kuna Zainab dilgir Hussein, 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 hai لو خبر جلدی کے بے پردہ ہے ہمشیر حسین، لو خبر جلدی کے بے پردہ ہے ہمشیر حسین، حسین حسین رن میں ہے نالا کنا زینب دلگیر حسین، حسین ہاتھ ملتی تھی بہن بھائی کا کٹا تھا گلا، ہاتھ ملتی تھی بہن بھائی کا کٹا تھا گلا، بھائی کا کٹا تھا گلا، کچھ نہ بس چل سکا مجبور تھی ہمشیر حسین، کچھ نہ بس چل سکا مجبور تھی ہمشیر حسین، رن میں ہے نالا کنا زینب دلگیر حسین، حسین ہوتے عباس جو زندہ تھی بھلا کس کی مجال، ہوتے عباس جو زندہ تھی بھلا کس کی مجال، کرتا یوں والے نبی کی کوئی تشہیر حسین، کرتا یوں والے نبی کی کوئی تشہیر حسین، رن میں ہے نالا کنا زینب دلگیر حسین، حسین حسین 700 کرسی نشینوں کا جہاں ہو مجمع، کا جہاں ہو مجمع 700 کرسی نشینوں کا جہاں ہو مجمع،
700 کرسی نشینوں کا جہاں ہو مجمع،
ہے رسن بستہ وہی وارث تطہیر حسین، ہے رسن بستہ وہی وارث تطہیر حسین، رن میں ہے نالا کنا زینب دلگیر حسین، حسین بھائی عباس و اکبر ہے کہاں دیکھے تو، بھائی عباس و اکبر ہے کہاں دیکھے تو، سر کھلے جاتی ہے دربار میں ہمشیر حسین، سر کھلے جاتی ہے دربار میں ہمشیر حسین، رن میں ہے نالا کنا زینب دلگیر حسین، حسین بے خطا سبت پیمبر کا گلا کاٹا ہے، بے خطا سبت پیمبر کا گلا کاٹا ہے، شام و کوفہ میں تھی زینب کی یہ تقریر حسین، شام و کوفہ میں تھی زینب کی یہ تقریر حسین، رن میں ہے نالا کنا زینب دلگیر حسین، رن میں ہے نالا کنا زینب دلگیر حسین،
حسین 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 ان اللہ ما صابرین، ان اللہ ما صابرین، ان اللہ ما صابرین، ان اللہ ما صابرین، حسین ان اللہ ما صابرین، ان اللہ ما صابرین، ان اللہ ما صابرین، ان اللہ صابرین. My brother was dying of thirst by the side of the river. People wouldn't give us water, though we had children with us. Oh, people, give us water. We are the Prophet's household. Kali inna Allah ma sabirin. Inna Allah ma sabirin. Inna Allah ma sabirin. Inna Allah ma sabirin. Who will look after us now that we have lost the boss? And Akbar and Qasim, who were the light of our house. How can we not remember how Asad has been slaughtered? Haq Ali, Hussein ya Hussein, Hussein is the king, Hussein king of kings, Hussein of Karbala, Hussein ya Hussein ya Hussein ya Hussein ya Hussein. Inna Allah ma sabirin, Inna Allah ma sabirin, Inna Allah ma sabirin, Inna Allah ma sabirin. Shabir is all alone now, no one is there to help him. He preached his words to people, I am the prophet's grandson. People, don't hit me with stones, don't you know I've no helpers? Haq Ali, Hussein ya Hussein, Hussein is the king, Hussein king of kings, Hussein of Karbala, Hussein ya 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 Hussein. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم. السلام عليك يا رسول الله، السلام عليك يا نبي الله، السلام عليك يا علي يا أمير المؤمنين، السلام عليك يا فاطمة الزهراء سيدات نساء العالمين، السلام عليك يا خديجة الكبرى، السلام عليك يا حسن بن علي المجتبى ابن أمير المؤمنين، السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله وعلى الأرواح التي حلت بفنائك، عليك مني السلام له أبدا ما بقيت وبقي الليل والنهار، ولا جعله له آخر العهد مني لزيارتكم. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين جميعا ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام عليك يا سيد الشهداء بأرض كربلاء، خصوصا سيدي ومولاي يا أبو الفضل العباس ابن أمير المؤمنين، وأختك زينب يا أم المصائب وأم كلثوم. السلام عليكم يا أهل البيت النبوة ومعدن الرسالة ورحمة الله وبركاته. السلام عليك وعلى التسعة المعصومين من ذريتك، وعلى علي بن الحسين زين العابدين ومحمد بن علي الباقر المنبين وجعفر بن محمد الصادق وموسى بن جعفر القادم وعلي بن موسى الرضا بالقدر والقضاء ومحمد بن علي التقي الجواد وعلي بن محمد النقي الهادي وحسن بن علي الزكي العسكري وحجة لابن الحسن القائم المهدي. السلام عليك يا صاحب العصر والزمان، الأمان 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 وفتنة من زمان. السلام عليك يا شريك القرآن، السلام عليك يا خليفة الرحمن، السلام عليك يا إمام الإنس والجان. سيدي أجل الله طاعل فرجك وسهل الله مخرجك وظهورك، وجعلنا من أنصارك وأعوانك جميعا ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. All the young ones, please come and give your respects to Maulana before you leave the hall. Inshallah, the next English Majlis will be next Friday. Kindly be on time. It will be at 8 o'clock.